I want to get into the University of Northern New Jersey. You ever heard of it? Well, it didn't have any sports teams. It didn't have graduation ceremonies, no instructors, classes, degree programs. All it had was a website that promised an exceptional education for foreign students wishing to study in the U.S. And that school, it was a sham. We know about it from beginning to end. Created by federal authorities, they used it to arrest 21 people on charges. They conspired to help more than 1,000 foreigners fraudulently keep or obtain student or work visas over the past 2.5 years. Let's bring in our legal expert, Loretta Powers, a legal expert and criminal defense attorney, very familiar with immigration scams. The website is timpowers.com. Loretta, how are you this afternoon?
I'm well. How are you, Matt?
I'm well, thanks. So the feds basically set this up. The defendants, the arrests were announced Tuesday. They knew the school was bogus. The foreigners did too. They pretended to be students. How common is this?
Unfortunately, visas are very hard to obtain in the United States, and visa fraud, it's very common, whether it's like a fraudulent marriage or just human smuggling or getting a fake student visa.
How common is it for the feds to set something like this up?
Well, I think that they just had to set up a fake university because it was so common.
Yeah. So these people that were arrested, I mean, they're charged with conspiracy to commit visa fraud, harbor aliens for profit. Outside of these 21, I mean, what I want to, like, is this considered like a big grab? You arrest 21 people when you're setting up something like this. I mean, how
not at all. I think the reality is that less than 1% of these people actually get caught.
So you're talking about the people who set up the fake visas. They helped, they conspired it. Yeah.
And as long as there's a spirit of adventure for young people to live in foreign countries, and as long as there's greed, we're going to have scams like this.
So, I mean, what happens to the people that actually set these scams up outside? No, obviously, the Fed set this one up, but what about others who set these scams up? I mean, what are they facing?
They're facing visa fraud, which is punishable by up to 10 years in prison, and it varies like per person. So if they bring 3 people into the country illegally, or even try to, that's 30 years, and so on.
Yeah. So this is big business then.
Yes, I mean, I think they prey on somebody's dream to be in the U.S., and they bribe schools to issue paperwork, but they are no different from human smugglers bringing people across the border, except in this case, they're making more money.
What? So how are the victims impacted? I mean, they let's say if they come across and they're hit with they get in contact with one of the fraudsters, and then all of a sudden it's found out that their visa is fake or whatever. I mean, how are the victims impacted?
Unfortunately, a lot of unscrupulous people will sell snake oil to cure cancer. And the victims, they know that they're scammed, but they don't report it or do anything about it because they fear deportation themselves or getting in trouble in a foreign land.
So, I mean, what is their next step? I mean, what do they, I mean,
a lot of times they don't report it. And unfortunately, these students are subject to deportation. But I don't think these students in this circumstance were 100% blameless. I mean, they were already here, and they got a taste of American life. You know, they bought their Costco hot dogs, and they wanted to stay. And a reasonable person would know that something was up whenever they were enrolled in college classes, but they never went.
Sure. So, I mean, it seems crazy that the government would go through and put something like this together to just net 21 people. I mean, that's where it doesn't make sense to me. But I guess any is better than none.
Right, and it took them 2.5 years to get these 21 people.
God, I wonder at what cost. I mean, good. I guess all they did was set up a website, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
all right.
Man hours to contact these people and respond to them.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Loretta, we appreciate your time. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Matt.
Loretta Powers, legal expert, criminal defense attorney who's very familiar with immigration scams. The website, timpowers.com. This University of Northern New Jersey, no sports teams, no graduation ceremonies, no instructors, classes, nothing, just the website. And from day one, it was a sham. The feds created it. They arrested 21 people on charges they conspired to help more than 1,000 foreigners keep or obtain their student work visas. Very common, I guess, though, right? Very common. The defendants knew the school was bogus, as did the foreigners who pretended to be students there in order to stay in the U.S. Now, you know what's going to be argued here, right? It's the same as when a terrorist talks to the FBI about blowing up a public place. And they go all the way to the end to where they think they're obtaining the actual explosives, and then the FBI steps in and arrests the alleged terrorists and announces the charges, and the person who wanted to blow us all up comes in and says, wow, that's entrapment. That's illegal. You set me up. I guarantee you that this is going to happen here. It happens all the time when government agencies go through and set this kind of thing up.